Hello everyone, today I'm going to recap a 2020 American romantic drama film called Chemical Hearts. Spoilers are present, be aware and relax. High school senior, Henry Page informs us in a voiceover narration that he leads a very ordinary life and aspires to be a writer in order to become the editor of the student newspaper. Mr. Sharma, the school's principal, summons him to the office and introduces him to Grace Town, a transfer student who uses a cane. He suggests that since they are both excellent writers, they should work together as the paper's editors-in-chief. Grace replies that she doesn't want to and departs. Henry misses his bus after the discussion, so Grace offers to take him home. She later admits she dislikes driving and lets Henry use her car, but not before handing him her book of Neruda poems. Grace notes that Henry lives in a much nicer house than she does. At home, Henry's family, older sister Suds, dad Toby, and mom Gloria are all thrilled he got the editor job. The following day, Mr. Sharma informs Henry that Grace has changed her mind and will be joining the paper. He informs them that they must develop a theme for the paper's final issue. Grace informs Henry that she has accepted an assistant editor position and that she will edit but not write. Later, Henry talks to Grace about the poem he read, and misses his bus yet again. They ride home together once more. Henry sees a man come and get the car to drive it home as Grace walks home. The next day, after again bringing Henry home, he asks her to hang out. She can't right now, but makes plans for the evening. Later, she returns and leads Henry through a long winding woodland path to an old cotton mill that closed down years ago. Grace enjoys feeding the fish in the pond. As they wade into the water, Grace then asks Henry if he's ever had a girlfriend, to which he replies that he hasn't. She confesses that she did a lot of her physical therapy in water after being in a car accident. When Henry presses her further with questions, she gets emotional, claims she has to go and asks if he can find his way home. When he gets home, Henry glues broken pottery together as a hobby, a Japanese art form. Suds returns home. She's living at home after a terrible breakup with her boss at the hospital. She sobs, and Henry consoles her. Following the advice of some of his friends, Henry follows Grace to see where she has been going every day after school. He observes her as she picks flowers and walks to a cemetery, where she sits at a grave, leaves flowers, and speaks to it. Following her departure, Henry notices the name Dominic Sawyer. He searches for him on Google and discovers he was Grace's boyfriend, who was killed in the same car accident in which she was injured. His friend, Moose, texts him that Grace was seen doing something strange. Henry then goes to the high school and sees Grace on the track, limping but trying to run. She falls down, screams, and bangs her cane against her leg. She is frustrated. The following day, Grace pitches Henry her teenage limbo topic for the last issue. Grace encourages Henry to start as he urges the newspaper crew to look far and wide for authentic true stories. He divulges information about a friend who died by suicide. When Henry later asks Grace why she won't write anymore, she replies that she was asked to write a eulogy but couldn't come up with the right words. Henry and Grace bond as they spend more time together. She accepts his invitation to a Halloween party. He is surprised when she comes in to hang out instead of going to the cemetery. They start kissing, but when the song playing in Henry's room is the same song playing in Grace's car, she becomes enraged and storms out. Henry follows her. Outside, she tells him the truth about Dominic and reveals that it was their song. She tries to kiss Henry, but she breaks down and says she can't do it because she isn't one of his vases. To his reluctance, Henry is persuaded by his pals to attend the Halloween party where he will be using marijuana. Grace is brought a drink after he is amazed to see her there. Henry's companion, and Cora, the woman who previously burned her, finally get together in the meantime. Grace and Henry dance before finally making out in Henry's bedroom. He notices her leg scars after she removes her costume. He admits to having never had sex before, and the two share a bed. Grace wakes up crying the next morning, which catches Henry off guard and causes him to leave her a panicked voicemail. However, she responds that she thought it was cute and eventually drives her own car to come pick him up. He takes him to Dominic's memorial site, where she expresses her need for Henry's support. She places the necklace Dominic gave her on the memorial and informs Henry that she wishes to move on. She starts to brighten up, finally eating lunch with the school paper crew and dating Henry. When a different car appears in Grace's driveway one day, she tells Henry to stay outside and walks in. Soon after, a woman rushes out, gets in her car, and drives away, backing over the garbage cans on the way. Henry asks if that was Grace's mother, but she says it doesn't matter. When he presses her, she snaps at him, telling him to stop attempting to fix her. Grace does not arrive at school later, and Henry learns that it is the anniversary of the accident, and a candlelight vigil is being held. In the rain, Henry dashes to her house, where he is allowed to come by a man named Martin. He allows Henry to wait in her room, which Henry discovers is Dominic's room. When Grace shows there, she admits the truth: she resides with Dominic's family. She moved in a month prior to the accident to avoid her mother, who was an alcoholic. Grace claims that she is giving him everything she has to offer and that she cannot pretend to be better just because he expects it. Henry declares his love for her, but after seeing all the pictures of Grace and Dominic scattered around, he becomes discouraged and leaves. His parents try to talk to him when he gets home, but he tells them that they wouldn't understand. Sud speaks with him, and he tells her the truth. She explains how a breakup will feel like withdrawal, but his body chemistry will adjust and return to normal. He says he wishes he could undo everything, but Suds responds that he can't because Grace is now a part of him. Taking the poem Grace had him read, Henry visits Dominic's grave and burns it. Henry learns Grace is missing from Martin through text the next day at school. He rushes to the hidden pond and discovers Grace sobbing in the water. She calls Henry Dominic and repeatedly tells him that it should have been her who died, that the accident was her fault, and that she shouldn't have teased him while driving. She just wanted to make him laugh. Henry comforts her and hugs her. When she realizes it's Henry, she appears to come to her senses. She tells him that her final thought before the crash was shit. It wasn't even about Dom, and she wonders whether it makes her a bad person. It doesn't, he assured her. She inquires as to Dom's last thought, and Henry responds that it was of her. Grace throws a collection of Dominic's belongings into the pond, immediately removes her dress, saying she was planning to wed Dominic while wearing it. Henry carries her home. Mr. Sharma informs the paper at school that Grace is taking time off and will not be returning to the paper when she returns. After a while, Grace goes back to school, but Henry stays away from her. Henry claims in his final essay for the paper that everyone has experienced the isolation and terror of adolescence. Scars, according to him, are evidence of what has been made rather than what has been broken. Grace and Henry finally discuss their future plans on the last day of school. He'll be attending Bennington, and she'll be taking a year off to continue her therapy. He assures her that she will be able to find her words again. She tells him he's extraordinary and kisses him on the cheek before hugging him goodbye and slipping something into his pocket. He looks in his pocket and finds the poem he burned reassembled, just like he does with his vases. He walks out of school, missing the bus, but his friends abandon the bus to walk home with him one last time. This is a new channel, guys. If you liked the video, please subscribe and share. If you did not like it, hit the subscribe button 3 times just to make sure. Goodbye.